Now this green thing behind you here, what is that? Oh, what is that?
This is a homemade tractor with a John Deere 1.5 horsepower engine on it.
That's a tractor?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a tractor.
The engine slides to tighten the belt for the clutch. It's a homemade deal.
So just those wheels on the front there, that's it. So what do you use something like this for? Just to tow stuff or?
Play.
Just for playing?
Mainly I got a hold of it. I didn't build it, but it was built and fellow wanted to sell it, and I thought it was real innocent. So, especially for the motor's a John Deere 1.5 horsepower, which is pretty popular.
That is crazy. Now this old wood piece of thing here, what is that for? That looks like something.
That came from old man Joe Willis. He's up here on top of the mountain up there. You know, he made his living just hard labor out here, plus axe handles and any kind of wood handle. You see, you put, I get a piece of wood here, I'll show you.
Put your handle in there and you wedge it in there so you can work on it, right?
What you do is put your handle in here if you're making a handle.
Yep.
And then you get your mature. Now he used a drawing knife. He had made handles for anything, wood handles, and he didn't have a bit of electricity in his shop or anything. So what you do, you get up here close and you push that like that.
It clamps down. Clamps down so you can pull on it.
You can't pull that out.
Yeah.
And the more you pull here, your leg just goes. Then you turn it over like that.
And draw the other side till you get a axe handle or a hoe handle or whatever drawn out.
That's correct.
Wow.
You see, from a block of wood.
What kind of wood typically would they use to do that?
Hickory.
Hickory. Hickory's the best for that.
Yeah. And he'd just split out a piece of wood and he'd take his drawing knife and cut it down and install it for you. Cheaper than you could go to the store and buy the handle.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Old man Joe Willis, that's homemade, of course.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm seeing a cider press over here. Is that right?
Correct.
That is a cider press. That's where I've seen one of these before. You just put your apples in there and you just twist down on it.
You put your apples in here and grind them. Turn it, and then they drop down in the basket, and you move your basket up here.
And you press it down, and it makes the apple cider. It comes out the bottom down there into something that you could contain it in.
That's right.
And I see that looks like another one right there, right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Here's the grinder for it.
Wow.
I've not got it mounted on top or anything, but that's...
Calvin, you got way more here than I thought I would see. I could spend 4 or 5 hours here looking at all your stuff. So everything, this is unreal. Well, the thing that's red here, the big thing, is that like a fire pump or something? What is that?
No, sir. That's what they call a pump jack.
Pump jack. Now what does it do?
It wasn't used much around here. It's used more up north. Well, they come out of these little hit and miss engines.
Yeah.
And when they came out of that, they tell me up north, they don't have the springs and creeks like we have here up in that flat country.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have a pasture maybe with individuals with just 4 or 5 horses or 4 or 5 cattle in it, and they drill a little old well and pumped it by hand. But when these little motors come out, some man got thinking, well, if he could hook a engine to this and make it work. So he hooked that engine to that, to the pump, used this little what they call pump jack, and it, when the motor's run, see, it pumps up and down.
I see.
Makes the pump go up and down.
Yeah, I see right there. There's the old handle, just like you'd see on a pump, like on like an old outside pump.
That's right.
They make it go up and down.
And there's only one thing it fastens is right there. In other words, if you went out there cold and the engine wouldn't start, all you got to do is pull that little.
And then you can pump it by hand if you need to.
Pump it by hand.
It's ingenious. That's ingenious.
Yes, sir.
Well, you keep on showing me. Now, we didn't talk about the little yellow tractor over here, but that's another one. I just walked by it. Is that a?
Yeah, that's another international cub, what they call a low boy. I'll mow with it some. I've got a belt iron go on it. The belt broke, so I've got a new belt to go on it. That's just an international cub. You can plow with them, mow with them, or whatever.
Do you know what year it is? Is it an old one too?
Oh, yeah, it's old, it's old. I don't know exactly what year, but it's around 50.
Wow.
Around 50. And,
And Calvin, I see you've got all kind of old nostalgic things. I see a Harris High Blue Devil bag up there at the top. I remember when Harris High was still around. I was the first year Mitchell ever got together, so I never got to play for Harris High.
there you go.
I was the year just after that.
Yes, sir.
So,
I've got some signs here. You don't see Kaiser Fraser.
No.
You never heard tell.
now, I have not. What was Kaiser Fraser?
It was automobile. They made them for just a few years. Phillips and Calder Motor Company down here in John Phillips and Oscar Calder had the dealership for that. And also they had the dealership for the Studebaker.
The Studebaker. So did you ever ride in a Studebaker?
Yeah.
Was it a good car?
Yeah, I've rode in the Studebaker.
I see all kinds of other old signs back in the back there. I'll just pan across them right quick.
Yeah, Coca-Cola and various signs. I like to have them.
I've not seen as a lot of these are just totally unfamiliar to
Corn
me.
shelters back here.
Corn shell. Yeah, now my daddy. Yeah, now I've actually
may
used
know
one.
what a corn
Well,
shell
yeah,
is,
I've used
okay.
one. So
There's
folks.
not many your age, though.
Well, Dad would always grow corn. Yep. No, that's a drill. That's what.
Yeah.
But we had one that looked similar to that though. Ours wasn't as fancy as this one.
This is the one that you
Yep. Put your ear in and it goes down and
Cob
spits out.
comes out.
Cob comes out. But we had one that was smaller. It was much smaller.
Like that.
Like that right there. There you go. That's what I.
See, this is a popcorn shelter. See?
Really?
People didn't buy popcorn way back yonder. In fact, I raised a little popcorn. Didn't
Did you?
have a shelter. I had to shell it by hand. But this is a popcorn shelter. See how much smaller
It's smaller than the other ones.
This is regular.
You can put a cob of corn in it, folks, and you can crank that crank.
That's right.
And it will peel every ear, and it has to be dry corn. You don't put wet corn in there. People
That's
like to know
right.
that. You have to dry your corn out.
That's right.
And then, but I used to
Yeah.
shell whole sacks of it for Daddy. It just didn't wear you out after a while.
Right, do like that and just put your ear in there.
Now, Calvin, he also had
sticks out there.
a hand crank that would grind the corn down into like a meal too. My daddy did. I guess he still got it somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Do you have one?
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Got a motor hooked to it right there. It is.
Oops, I'm stepping shot back. This right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little grinder.
Yeah, well, I had to do it by hand.
They call a steel burr.
It's another cider
press.
press.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of stuff here. Oh, this is amazing. Is that somebody you need to see or
Huh?
who is that?
Oh, that's John or Jim. That's what
Oh.
kids, they're getting corn and beans and stuff.
Wow. Well, show me this. I got to see this. The showcase piece out here. I got to see the caboose.